Hi guys, so you guys must have heard and seen category-based draws, occupation-specific draws, and program-specific draws. But have you guys ever heard or seen country-specific draws? Yes, country-specific draws. So Saskatchewan, Canada recently conducted country-specific draws in two of their most popular PNP programs and invited people from these countries. Yes, invited people from these countries in variety of MSc codes. Hi everyone, my name is Shivani and I'm a licensed immigration consultant based in Ontario, Canada. And I'm also the founder of Zeste Immigration Services Incorporation. Today, we will be looking at those two programs and how you can become eligible for those two programs that's nominating people from outside Canada. Well, technically this program is for everyone, even if you are inside or outside Canada. So let's get started. I usually get this question a lot of times, especially from people outside Canada, that Shivani, are there any PNPs that do not require us to find a job offer? Well, today I am here with those very PNPs. Now, these PNPs have always been for people inside and outside Canada, especially for people outside Canada. And they have been running variety of draws and nominating people from variety of countries and also people from inside Canada as well and variety of NOC codes. They usually do not run country-specific draws, they usually run just general draws and perhaps occupation-specific draws, but I believe this was the first time I personally have seen country-specific draws. But for other people whose country was not there, please don't worry guys, because these people also run general draws and occupation-specific draws, so everyone outside and inside Canada can definitely have their profile in there. So we'll start this video by exploring both of these programs. We will learn both of these programs one by one. We will go through the eligibility criteria and the requirements. Let's start by Saskatchewan Express Entry International Skilled Worker Program. Saskatchewan Express Entry is a Canadian immigration pathway that allows candidates in Canada's Express Entry pool to live and work in Saskatchewan through provincial nomination. Saskatchewan Express Entry is a subcategory of the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, also known as SINP. This program specifically is called International Skilled Worker category. Since this is an Express Entry aligned PNP, it requires candidates to have an active Express Entry profile. Eligible applicants to Saskatchewan Express Entry subcategory receive 600 points under the Express Entry CRS. This effectively guarantees an invitation for Canadian permanent status in subsequent Express Entry draw. Saskatchewan Express Entry targets skilled workers who have recent work experience in a high-skilled occupation that is not on the SINP excluded list. The best thing about this program is that a job offer is not required to qualify under this stream. Now, we'll definitely go through the SINP excluded occupation list at the end of this video, so please stick around. Now, let's look at the work experience requirement. Well, Saskatchewan considers high-skilled work experience to be any work experience obtained at Tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. That means NOC OAB. The Saskatchewan Express Entry subcategory operates with the SINP expression of interest, that means the EOI system. Similar to Express Entry, candidates must first submit an EOI, which is ranked using a point system. Then invitations are periodically issued to the highest ranked candidates. Now let's look at the eligibility criteria. In order to become eligible for the Saskatchewan Express Entry subcategory stream, potential candidates need at least 1 year of high-skilled work experience in the past 10 years in their field of education or training and in an occupation at Tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. That work experience must have been obtained in an occupation that is not in the SINP excluded list. Again, we'll go through this list by the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. In addition, applicants to Saskatchewan Express Entry must also be in the IRCC Express Entry poll, score at least 60 points out of 110 on the SINP point assessment grid, provide valid language test results from a designated agency such as IELTS or CELPIP, which must match the results they declare in the Express Entry profile. They must also have a diploma, certificate, or a degree from a post-secondary study or training program or an apprenticeship of at least 1 year in length. This qualification must be comparable to Canadian education system, and if you obtained it outside of Canada, you must get an ECA. Also have work experience in your field of education or training, either as 1 year work experience in the last 10 years in a skilled, non-trades profession, and or 2 years work experience in a skilled trade in the last 5 years, and or 12 months work experience in Canada in the past 3 years, trades or non-trades. If you come from trades or any other licensed occupations, make sure that you show proof of professional status or licensure for regulated occupations or those with professional certification standards in Canada and or Saskatchewan. If required for your occupation, make sure it's up to date. And also, you must demonstrate settlement funds and a settlement plan for yourself and your family. I'll link all of this down in the description box below so that way you can explore the settlement funds requirement and the other program requirements as well. Now let's talk about receiving an invitation under Saskatchewan Express Entry. The top scoring candidates who receive an invitation to apply can then apply to the SINP for provincial nomination. At this point, there is a non-refundable fee of $350 required in order to complete the application. The SINP reviews each application and informs the applicant whether or not they are eligible for the nomination. Now, if they are nominated or if you're nominated, the SINP confirms your nomination in the Express Entry systems, and the IRCC will then ask you if you wish to accept the nomination. You have now 30 days to decide on whether you want to go ahead with this or not. With the additional 600 CRS points you obtain from the provincial nomination in addition to your core CRS scores from human capital factors, you are all set to receive an ITA in the future Express Entry draw. Next step would be after receiving an ITA. So once you get an ITA from the Express Entry draw, you will now have 60 days to submit your application for permanent residence to the IRCC. So this is how this program works. Now let's talk about the Saskatchewan Occupations in Demand International Skilled Worker. This program is for people who have experience in one of the in-demand occupations. The Saskatchewan Occupations in Demand subcategory of the SINP International Skilled Worker category targets skilled workers in key occupations. If you have recent work experience in a high-skilled occupations that is not on the SINP excluded list, Saskatchewan's Occupation in Demand category could be your route to Canada immigration. Saskatchewan considers high-skill work experience to be any work experience obtained at NOC Tier Category 0123, that means NOC OAB. However, this occupation must not be on the excluded occupations list. Please note that the Saskatchewan Occupations in Demand subcategory is not aligned with the federal Express Entry system. This means that it is not compulsory for you to have an active Express Entry profile to become eligible for this particular program. Potential candidates may be outside Canada or in Canada with legal status, and the best thing about this program again is that there is no job offer required for any of these candidates. The Saskatchewan Occupations in Demand subcategory operates with the SINP Expression of Interest system. Similar to Express Entry, candidates must first submit an EOI, which is ranked using a point system. Then invitations are periodically issued to the highest ranked candidates. Now let's look at the program eligibility criteria. In order to be eligible for the Saskatchewan Occupations in Demand subcategory, potential candidates need at least 1 year of high-skilled work experience in the past 10 years in their field of education or training and in occupation at Tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. That work experience must have been obtained in an occupation that is not on the SINP excluded occupations list. So let's finally go over this excluded occupations list. In addition, potential applicants to the Saskatchewan Occupations in Demand subcategory must also score at least 60 points out of 110 on the SINP Points Assessment Grid. Demonstrate a language score of at least CLB Level 4. Have a diploma, certificate, or degree from a post-secondary study or training program or an apprenticeship of at least 1 year in length. This qualification must be comparable to the Canadian education system, and if you obtained it outside of Canada, you must submit an ECA for this credential. You must also show the proof of professional status or licensure for regulated occupations or those with professional certification standards in Canada and/or Saskatchewan. If required for your occupation, it has to be up to date as well. Also, you must demonstrate enough or sufficient settlement proof of funds for yourself and your family members. Now let's learn a little bit about SINP Points Assessment Grid. Potential applicants can create a profile in the SINP online system, OASIS. Upon completing your profile, you will be assigned a points score out of 110 based on factors such as education, work experience, and language scores. Candidates need to score at least 60 points in order to be able to submit an EOI. However, meeting a minimum of 60 points does not guarantee that you will receive an invitation to apply. Candidates in the pool are ranked according to their scores out of 110, and the highest ranking candidates will receive an invitation when Saskatchewan immigration authorities conduct a draw from the pool SINP skilled worker candidates. Sometimes this may not be the case because sometimes they run occupation-specific draws or country-specific draws, so there are certain exemptions as well. There is also a factor of connection to Saskatchewan labor market and adaptability. The SINP recognizes that candidates with a strong connection to Saskatchewan and the labor market may have a genuine intent and ability to settle in the province successfully, so connections to Saskatchewan earn further points in their points grid. Now let's learn about receiving an EOI. The top scoring candidates who receive an EOI can then apply to the SINP for provincial nomination. At this point, there is a non-refundable fee of $350 required in order to complete the application. The SINP reviews each application and informs the applicant whether he or she is eligible for nomination or not. Nominated candidates can then apply directly to the IRCC for their permanent resident status. Now let's look at the SINP's recent country-specific draws in two of these programs. Now please note guys that this may not be the case every single time. They run a combination of general draw, occupation-specific draw. This is the first time I personally am seeing a country-specific draw, but this may or may not be the case in future. So it's not like that only people from these countries are eligible. There are also people from other countries if you meet all the program criteria of any of this or both of these programs. And if you're not in the excluded occupation list, then of course go ahead and do create your profile in both of these programs or perhaps any of these programs in which you're eligible. So it's not only for these specific countries, it's actually for people everywhere on this planet, inside or outside Canada, as long as you meet the program requirements. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon right there so that you get notified every single time I post a new video. If you wish to talk about your immigration case or if you wish to explore your immigration options, then feel free to contact us at www.zestcanada.ca or simply go to the description box of this video, go get the link and book an appointment with me. And yes, I'll be more than happy to help you if you book an appointment or if you do the case assessment. Thank you guys. See you next time.